Hey, how's it going? So, by the way, today I'm going to be doing a broadcast with Tariq Amar and Alexander Mercouris. It's going to be on my Roundtable channel. Go check it out. If you don't know the Roundtable channel, just go to this channel, and on the front page you'll see the link to the Roundtable channel. So, anyway, it's happening today at noon Eastern Time. So, right around the time that this video will be posted, probably. So, anyway, the point I wanted to make in this video. I don't think that Joe Biden is going to be in the White House for very much longer. As some of you may know, Joe Biden has announced that he's running for re-election in 2024. Okay, I mean the guy is going to be 82 years old if he were to win a re-election. If, of course, he's going to win because the election is going to be crooked. So anyway. He's going to be 82, so 86 by the time he gets out, and already we see him on his last legs. The guy spends more days resting and on quote-unquote vacation than he does actually doing the job because he's an elderly man. I mean, you know, no disrespect to the elderly generally, but there comes a point where your body can't take it anymore, or your mind for that matter, and Joe Biden is no exception. He makes a fool of himself whenever he appears publicly because he's an old, elderly, decrepit man. Now, the Democrats don't have any candidate. Right now, they're looking across the aisle at the Republicans, and the Republicans have Trump and DeSantis. Who knows what's going to happen in that shit show, but that's not the point I want to make. In this moment, the Democrats, the establishment, are freaking out over Robert Kennedy, of all people. Robert Kennedy is a longtime anti-vax advocate. I mean, like across the board. He's anti-vaccine of all vaccines, right? Which I personally am not, but that's another story. The point is that he has thrown his hat into the ring for the Democratic nomination. He's a Kennedy, nephew of a president, son of a possible almost president, Robert F. Kennedy Sr. And I personally don't really care for Jr., and whenever he talks, his voice warbles, and I think that he's just as decrepit as Joe Biden, but that's me. Anyway, the point is that, see, he's anti-establishment. He is very much opposed to the entrenched bureaucratic regime currently controlling the cosmopolitan leadership class of the Western regimes. So he is, anathema to the Democratic Party establishment, the Clintonistas and all those people, the Obama people, most certainly. And on the other side, in the Republicans, there'd possibly be Trump. I mean, most likely Trump, as a matter of fact. And so he is another, a loose cannon. So the entrenched bureaucracy cannot allow the potential winner of the presidential election of 2024 to be one of these loose cannons, either Donald Trump or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So one of the things that they're going to be doing about Robert Kennedy is just isolating him and just omitting him from everything. I mean, they've already cut him off from mainstream media. A lot of people believe, I'm not sure about this, but I'm telling you what other people believe, and sensible people, not crazies. They believe that Tucker Carlson was pulled off Fox News because he was giving airtime to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and to Donald Trump. So, there's this notion that the entrenched bureaucracy wants to hold on to its power no matter what. Not just the entrenched bureaucracy per se of the federal government, but also the apparatchiks of the Democratic and the Republican parties, the uniparty. And so they're not going to allow a true dissident or anybody who would rock the boat or any loose cannon like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or Trump to become the next president. But at the same time, Joe Biden is so decrepit, right? And so this is my thinking. The way to be able to have somebody more controllable, because elderly people, sometimes they get angry for no reason and it's impossible to control them. And we've seen that happen to Joe Biden, right? And one could argue that a lot of the reason of the American aggressiveness insofar as the Ukraine conflict is concerned is because Joe Biden has like a hard-on for Ukraine because that used to be his money kitty. That's where he got a lot of his, under-the-table money, okay? And so, and the Ukraine situation is proving a bust, and so My thinking is that the Democratic Party establishment will try to get rid of Joe Biden and shoehorn in Kamala Harris. Because Kamala Harris, make no mistake about it, she's an idiot. I mean, I seriously believe that she has under 90 IQ points. I mean, she is so stupid. And half the time she's on TV, you can tell that she's stoned on pot. I mean, really. We've gone from, Bill Clinton saying, I tried it once and I didn't inhale, all the way to a pot-smoking vice president who is stoned most of the time. And she is, come on. We're all grown up, so we've all seen people who are high on marijuana. She's stoned. That's why she says these ridiculous, non sequiturs all the time, right? But she's controllable. She's controllable, and when she gets a script, she sticks to it. And the thing is, see, they trial ballooned Pete Buttigieg, and he was a bust because people just looked at him, and he seemed like, like a robot, right? And so nobody really went for him, and there's no other Democratic politician who could potentially be the next president. And of course, now at this time, it is too late to get rid of Kamala, like they did with Spiro Agnew, to get rid of Kamala, put somebody in that is more to their liking, and then get rid of Joe Biden, like they did with Nixon, because that's the play that they did with Nixon. They wanted to get rid of Nixon, and so first they got rid of Spiro Agnew. They put in Gerald Ford, who was a nice, compliant little cog in the machine, and then they got rid of Gerald Ford. That's the play. Look at the history of it. In this case, they don't have enough time to get rid of Kamala and put somebody else. So they're going to have to run with Kamala and just keep her on a very, very short leash and make sure that she just sticks to the script, every script that she gets. And of course, there's going to be the first female president, the first female president of color. Who knows? Maybe they'll come out that she's a lesbian to boot. They're just trying to tick off the diversity boxes. But my point, they are going to get rid of Joe Biden because he is proving to be a liability. Nobody wants him to run. Nobody wants to vote for him. Nobody. So they got to get rid of him. And that's what I think is going to happen. You guys tell me in the comments if you think I'm full of it as usual or if I might be onto something. Because, really, Joe Biden, it's not his approval rating. It's the number of people who want to see him in a second term. It's minuscule, practically nothing. And they cannot allow Robert Kennedy to be the Democratic nominee because he might win. That's the thing. See, if the Republicans float a candidate that is just a non sequitur, if they float Trump, Trump against Robert Kennedy, probably Robert Kennedy would win. Not because he's such a great candidate, but because so many people have severe antibodies to Trump, and the establishment would figure that between Robert Kennedy and Trump, better Robert Kennedy, but they don't really know, so maybe he wouldn't know what to do. Whereas Trump, in a second term, he would know what to do. He would know whom to fire. And so that's my thinking. Get rid of Joe, have Kamala, make the election crooked, of course, and whoever's the Republican candidate loses to Kamala Harris. Tell me what you think. Understand what's going on.